When you talk about, the research, I think a lot of nonprofits where they struggle is actually validating their success and being able to show, hey, here are the outcomes, because obviously that ties back into why people would give you more money, why they'd support your program. I noticed with your organization, you actually have gotten a lot of reverse. Yeah, but you've also gotten a lot of support from universities who actually pick up your program and do studies. How do you get folks to come in there, study what you're doing, and validate your success?
Well, when we were invited to present at the American Probation Association conferences. They call them APPA conferences, where professionals, probation officers come for training and get, conferences, not just the fun stuff of conferences, actually learning some things. And I was in a preliminary session. I was talking about our numbers, and this was back in 2003, 4. Anyway, I'm kind of flamboyant with my presentations. I would leave the stage and I would come down to the audience, and at the time there was a blank chair. So I was trying to explain how we get offenders to trade places with their victims. So I played like I had a weapon in my hand, and it was a gray-headed guy sitting in the front row. So I acted like I had a gun to his head and showed him how we demonstrate this in class. And Dave, it was the director of NIC, the United States Department of Justice National Institute of Corrections director, and he became the director of federal prisons of the United States.
It's a good person to pick.
I know. And he says, I'm going to get you. He got me in touch with one of their researchers, and they funded their first research paper. They came out and they studied it. And then the University of Nebraska, at another local presentation here, came and they said, well, your numbers this is impossible. This doesn't happen. So they actually came to my classes like you did, Dave. And they said, oh, we understand why this works. You take this essence and the way you present your material, and you consolidate it into a short, powerful, I will say presentation, but you boil everything down to its essence, and you deliver it in a way, and you appear, you are formally incarcerated like they are now. So you're peer to peer. So they're a little bit more open to listening to you, and they know they can't bullshit you. So I take advantage of those things too. But the researcher said, we got to figure this out. So they got interested by seeing something done in a unique way. And they were just fascinated, wanted to see it and wanted to figure out why. And they found out through research that regardless of the presenter, it does have an effect of peer to peer, but it's not required. And half my 25% of my trainers doesn't have a justice involved background, and they're clinicians. So they saw that that it was a natural response to empathy. They said, Jim, you can't teach empathy. That's impossible. But it's organic the way you're doing it, and you get them to have empathetic responses generically. And that's what they're saying. Well, we got to study this. So Florida Gulf University and a lot of restorative justice, I call them godfathers, Howard Zare, Kay Pranis, Mark Umbright, so many across the country, internationally. Over the years, we have worked together where kind of hard to explain. So getting academia involved was sort of natural because they challenged. They say, you know what, these numbers can't be real. You're fudging this. So they wanted to see it naturally on their own, I guess. And that's how it came about.
Are you able to utilize, so when somebody validates the work you're doing, especially in an academic setting with real research, does that help you then go get more funding?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I figured so, but.
Yeah. Because when it does, but at the same time, Dave, this area that I'm in, working with justice involved individuals, it's not very popular, you know. No, who, you know, we got prisons and jails and probation officers for that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, nail them, jail them, our society, nail them, jail them, put their asses away. You know, it's to me on the giving scale, this is the bottom, right? This is the floor. This is where we at.
Yeah, it's not a cute puppy that they're donating to. Yeah.
No, not at all. But the people up in Omaha, let me say that, say, you got to be kidding. Corrections is not paying for this. And they were just fiberglassed it. And I said, well, you know, I think it's maybe me because I was formerly incarcerated. But she says, Jim, and this was about 5 years ago now. No, our system is not working. 70% of people get out of prison, go back. They're going to commit 2 more crimes before they go back. It's in the trillions. If you factor in the damage done to victims and communities, it's in the trillions every year. It's in the billions we spend on jails and prisons. Billions, hundreds of billions of dollars. And we're getting a poor return on that money. You know, some of that money could go to homeless programs, feeding the poor, feeding the hungry. There's nobody should go hungry in this country in homelessness. The amount of money that we're spending on corrections is wrong. It's misdirected, and we as a society we accept it because we all, I'm seriously been brainwashed on these people are defective. The judges look down as the defective human beings that we, but there's the needs. If you address the needs of that justice involved individual correctly, and I wouldn't say correctly, but I've noticed over the last almost close to 30 years, working with the kids and working with adults, if you address their needs in a sense of developmentally, emotionally, the trauma. Remember I told you about the A score, those 10 questions that usually give? Guess what the average score is when I go in prison?
Is that out of 100? And 100 being out of 10, and 10 is like you have the most amount of trauma. Got to be somewhere near the top.
8, 9. Women's prison, 10s. We see high numbers all the time, even on probation. It's insane. So those trauma and those things that are not addressed, people are motivated to survive, to eat. They're motivated by safety. I want my son and daughter, I want my house to feel safe. So sometimes they carry a gun. Sometimes they sell drugs. But just like with the volume of drug uses in this country, guess who consumes the majority of drugs in this country, Dave?
People who look probably a lot like me. Yeah. Though we're not incarcerated at the same level, obviously.
Not at all.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed the short segments from a recent interview I did with a good friend and colleague, Dave Nadelman. To view the rest of the interview and to learn more about the Community Justice Center, check out our social media pages and visit us at communityjusticecenter.org.